right, Fumble fam, let's introduce a new segment today called Athletes Acting Up. First on the list, we have Anthony Edwards. The Timberwolves star guard is making headlines after he allegedly told a woman to get an abortion after she told him she was pregnant. Now, this is all according to court documents and text messages. The woman's 38 years old. Edwards is 23. Then you have Kadarius Toney, who was arrested outside of Atlanta for strangling a woman. According to police, Toney allegedly put his hands around a woman's throat and squeezed, quote, with enough force to cause her to be unable to breathe, and hemorrhaging was noticed in her eyes. And last but not least, Rodney, we have Tyreek Hill. An OnlyFans model is suing the superstar after she alleged he broke her leg during an impromptu football drill at his mansion back in 2023. She went on to say that the two had intercourse a few hours later. Rodney, where do you want to start?
You gave up the draws with a broken leg? How you give up the draws? How you give up the draws with the broken leg, fam? I'm sorry. All right, we'll address Kadarius Anthony Edwards, but I gotta shoot Tyreek a little bit of bail here, okay? This is scandalous. Don't accuse me of breaking your leg doing a football drill and you give me some draws, because really what it sounds like is you were so invested on figuring out how to have a physical situation with me that you chose to ignore the excruciating pain shooting through your body. I ain't trying to hear that, okay? So,
well, maybe she just hurt. Maybe it hurt. Well, first of all, why are you doing impromptu drills? Like, why are you just running through people? Okay, but what if she got hurt and she didn't know that she was hurt?
Then don't complain about it. Don't say that I broke your leg intentionally or imply that I broke your leg intentionally, and then say, oh, but I didn't realize at the time. Like, if we playing around, we horse playing, cool, you got hurt, all right, but everything is this sounds like a cash grab. Now it's you broke my leg and then we had sex. I don't really see what the problem is. Like, people need to start being more accountable for their own actions. We can move on from Tyreek Hill because my man is innocent on all charges, not guilty. Okay, Tyreek Hill, not guilty. All right, let's go to Edwards. Anthony Edwards has been preyed upon. This woman is 38 years old. Anthony Edwards is a young 23. Anybody who knows people who play basketball at the level of Anthony Edwards know that these young men were nurtured and bred to be athletes, and so some of their social cues are a little bit different than normal people within society. And so their social development is a little bit delayed. And I'm not saying that's definitely Anthony Edwards' case, but I just know enough cats in the league to know that they operate and function very differently. So when you have a very mature, damn near 40-year-old woman laying down with a man who is just out of his teenage years, I'm going to look at her like she crazy. And so everything that Anthony Edwards is alleged to have said in those text messages, I think is reflective of a young man who maybe does not have all the social skills that he should at that age, with that much money, that much influence, and just celebrity. And he's a byproduct of an environment and maybe just not being properly nurtured to understand how to communicate. But this is all on her.
Yeah, because I don't think that his father was in his life, and then his mother and grandmother have passed away. So he doesn't really have anybody, unfortunately, in his corner kind of telling him, like, we've heard Jaden Daniels' mom be like, no, we have these conversations. I let him know, like, okay, we're not doing this. Unfortunately, Anthony doesn't have anybody like that on his team. It's just a sad situation, but he's going to have to start using protection, Rodney. Like, this is not the first time he's gotten a woman pregnant and he didn't want the baby. Like,
it ain't the first, second, or third time. Yeah, my man is
he's going to have to start changing.
He's leading the league in threes. And so my boy is a shooter. My boy is a shooter. You dig what I'm saying? I'm not mad at a young man with this much money making these kinds of mistakes. I wish they didn't come with this level of scrutiny, and I wish they weren't this permanent. But you're going to take some lumps. I always say I admire John Wall because to be afforded the keys to a franchise, $100 million contract, John Wall doesn't have any of these situations or scenarios. And I really feel like a guy like that is still supposed to be in the league mentoring a guy like Anthony Edwards, and very similar background story, very similar origin story, cut from a very similar cloth. And you don't have a guy like John Wall, a vet like John Wall now in the league being able to nurture a guy like Anthony Edwards, which I feel like is just... It's a miss. It's a miss. Nobody wants to listen to Mike Conley, fam. We don't believe Mike Conley was out there getting real cheeks. So that's what I'm saying.
Why did Mike have to catch us straight? All right, let's go to Kadarius.
Mike Conley wasn't clapping no sister cheeks. Kadarius Toney, disgusting if he did this. We don't need to talk about this for too long, because if you put your hands on a woman, then you're despicable. I'm always a fan of waiting until these kinds of things are proven, because we very rarely go backwards and do a retraction if we make such definitive and harsh statements. And so I want to allow the judicial process to play out before I come to any definitive answers and responses.
Okay. I do feel like with the Kadarius situation, if it is true that he did this, then we really got to start looking at mental health, especially with athletes that are transitioning out of the league. His last couple of seasons were not the best. I know people were saying a lot of negative things about him on social media. And so it just seems to me like a person crying out for help. Still don't need to put your hands on anybody like that. But we do need to have the conversation about what athletes are doing once they stop playing, because that was their whole life. That's all I got to say. You all let us know down in the comments which story was the most egregious today. We want to hear from you. Thank you.